nice of them, wasn't it? That was nice. Well, that's what apparently Roy and Becca decided that the worship team's, the band name is the Four Baldies and the Floating Head. Because if you're watching at home, her choice of an all-black dress with an all-black stage is kind of like, you know, in Harry Potter when he first puts on his invisibility cloak, we got a little bit of that going on at home, I think. Not that I'm quoting Harry Potter at church, because that's, you know, bad, of the devil or whatever. All right, good morning, everybody. Four Baldies and the Floating Head, I like better than Shiners, people. Do not make fun of the what is it? Follicular challenged or something? All right, well, this morning I like how we started off Vox yet once again, just reeking of professionalism in every way possible. That's us. This morning, we have somebody who's filming at Vox today, which is the weirdest thing for Vox. And his name is Jared. He's at the back there in the lumberjack shirt. Very fall look he's got going on. He fits in well at Vox with the big cool beard. And it's okay. It's not really a big deal. It's for a documentary that's going to be on HBO Max. Just kidding. Oh, man. As soon as I said HBO Max, I almost made another joke that I really shouldn't. And, but yeah, so no, he's just going to be filming. It is actually for a documentary. And just pretend that he's not here. Now that I've said that, all of you are going to stare into the camera. But yeah, that's what's going on. If we could make it through worship team practice today when he was getting B-roll like right here, you guys will probably do just fine. I'm pretty confident there's a bunch of scenes where I look over at him like, huh. Anyways, it's gonna be good. Okay, here we go. We haven't done this song in a really long time, but it's a really old hymn, so. My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest frame, but wholly lean on Jesus' name. When darkness comes to hide his face, I rest on his unchanging grace. In every high and stormy gale, my anchor holds within the veil. On Christ the solid rock I stand, all of the ground is sinking sand. All of the ground is sinking sand. His oath is covenant, his blood support me in the whelming flood. When all around my soul gives way, he then is all my hope and stay. When he shall come with trumpet sound, oh, may I then in him be found, dressed in his righteousness alone, faultless to stand before the throne. On Christ the Son All other ground is sinking sand. Oh, my hope is in you. Oh, my strength is in you. Oh, my peace is in you. Oh, my life is in you. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. All other ground is sinking sand. I have not played guitar enough. The pain is excruciating at the moment. You guys are worth it. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not kidding, actually. I mean, I'm kidding about the pain and, you guys are still worth it. I didn't mean kidding about that. That turned around real quick, didn't it? I was like, felt the room. Well, you know what? I'm a child of love, so that's just what I'm going to rest in. I was walking the wayside, lost on a lonely road. I was chasing the highlight, trying to satisfy my soul. All the lies I believed in left me crying like the rain. Then I saw lightning from heaven, and I've never been the same. No. I'm gonna climb a mountain, I'm gonna shout about it. I am a child of love. I found a world of freedom, I found a friend in Jesus. I am a child of love. The sting of the fire, but I saw you in the flames. Just when I thought it was over, you broke me out of the grave. I'm gonna climb a mountain, I'm gonna shout about it. I am a child of love. I found a world of freedom, I found a friend in Jesus. I am a child of love. Hey, yeah. Oh, I am a child of love. Yeah. Oh, I am a child of love. Nothing can change the way you love me. Nothing can change the way I belong to you. Yes, I do. Nothing can separate. Nothing can change the way you love me. Nothing can change the way I belong to you. Yes, I do. 'Cause nothing can separate. 'Cause nothing can change the way you love me. Nothing can change the way I belong to you. Yes, I do. Nothing can separate. I'm gonna climb a mountain. I am a child of love. I find a world of freedom. I am a child of love. I'm gonna climb a mountain. I'm gonna shout about it. I am a child of love. I found the world of freedom. I found the friend of Jesus. I am a child of love. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I am a child of love. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I am a child of love. Come on, that was like an actual professional ending and everything. Today's joke comes from Becca via Dan up there. Which is older, the sun or the moon? The moon, because she can go out at night. That was good. I feel like it was fitting. It was fitting. It was fitting with Vox. I was gonna ruin Carrie's surprise because they are heading up this afternoon to celebrate. Carrie's like terrified. I don't know what's going on. They're going to celebrate with Christina for her birthday. And Christina is the reason that we tell the stupid jokes at Vox, because she started that tradition and we carried it on. So she bought her this birthday card, and it's awesome. But I am not spoiling it before it's Christina's birthday. You're welcome, Christina, if you're watching. Yeah, all afternoon. She's going to be waiting now. We should all text her. That'd be good. Oh, we have announcements and stuff because we do church things. This week we are meeting on Thursday. For those of you who didn't know, our Thursday night discussion group is back, but now we can't call it that anymore. And I don't know what I'm going to do because now it's our Tuesday or Thursday night discussion group, depending on the week, because we're alternating between those two nights so that different people are able to attend. So it is going to be at 7 p.m. at Heather and Trevor's place on Thursday evening, if you want to come to that. Yes. The Thutu Bible study? That sounds like we're studying some like cultic Bible or something. Thutu. Oh man, I tell you. Okay, people, there's cameras. Behave. I want to show the trailer again. So tonight at 7 p.m. Look at what we can do now. I got this idea at the conference we were just at. So if you want to buy tickets for this, you can use your camera and click on the QR code. It'll take you right there, right now, in this moment like the future.
So I don't see anybody taking their cameras out, their phones out. Come on.
Don't guilt everybody.
I'm totally that's what I'm here for.
Let them feel their guilt and shame in private. Anyways, so tonight at 7 p.m. is this really neat opportunity. It's a play. It's like a house concert, but it's a house play. It is $25 a person. It is going to be at Heather and Trevor's at 7 o'clock. And if you want to come out, I think it's worth it. It's something that I'm always scared of here at Vox. We don't do a lot of church stuff because we don't tend to fit in a lot of the churchy kinds of things. This says Jesus in the title. It's right there. But I think you should be able to get a feel for the tone of the play by the fact that there's a bobblehead Jesus beside the word Jesus. So this is very much for those of us with faith who have struggled with faith, who have deconstructed our faith, maybe reconstructed, or maybe haven't yet. Maybe you are still not even sure, or people who are just like, I just don't know about this church stuff. From the people that I talked to who saw it on Friday night at the thing that we were at, it was funny, it is unsettling, which is, I think, good sometimes. It is powerfully intense, and obviously a bobblehead Jesus, at times silly. And so I think that it is something really worth coming to. Carrie, you have a question? I have no idea. There is some discussion about creating. I think part of the problem is it is a bit of an interaction, and I think what they are if there is a lot of interest, there is some discussion about bringing it back to Barrie again, and we will try to do that again. We're actually partnering with another group of Christians that we found out about here in Barrie who are a little bit like us, so I'm kind of also looking forward, apparently, so I'm really looking forward to getting to know some other weird Jesus followers who don't fit anywhere. And it should be kind of a neat experience. So anyways, yeah. So you can go and you can click on that QR code like super cool people. Anyways, we're going to do that more. I got so excited about that at the conference we were at. No, I don't think we're going to play the trailer. I already talked too much. I talked too much about the trailer. Okay, we're going to birthdays. Do we have any birthdays? We have Rob's birthday. Shauna's birthday, who looks super happy about it. She's really happy, so later say happy birthday to Shauna too. No, we sang and then we were gonna sing. It's like she's being a birthday song glutton. What? Oh yeah, and it's Christina's birthday. So happy birthday, Christina, Shannon, and Rob. Shauna, sorry, Shannon, my bad. Shauna, I'm so sorry. You know, the Shannon-Shauna thing is very difficult. Okay, that's like I named my kids Keelan and Caleb and regretted that very quickly. All right, let's sing happy birthday to Shauna and Rob and Christina. Oh, don't ask again. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Shauna, Christina, and Rob. Happy birthday to you. Okay, we're going to take a break, have some coffee, really needed, and then get started again shortly. I like that. wanna know you, Lord, like I know a friend. Wanna know you, Lord. Wanna know you, Lord, like I know a friend. I wanna know you, Lord. 'Cause I'm laying down all my religion. I'm laying down. I wanna know you, Lord. I'm laying down all my religion. 'Cause I'm laying down. I wanna know you, Lord. I used to think that I could box you in, but I'm laying down. I wanna know you, Lord. 'Cause I used to think that I could box you in, but I'm laying down. Wanna know you, Lord. I'm laying down all my religion. I'm laying down. Wanna know you, Lord. 'Cause I'm laying down all my religion. 'Cause I'm laying down. Wanna know you, Lord. To be ashamed, Lord, I've been told, don't measure up. Lord, I've been told, not good enough, but you're here with me. So I'm laying down all my religion. 'Cause I'm laying down. I wanna know you, Lord. 'Cause I'm laying down all my religion. 'Cause I'm laying down. I wanna know you, Lord. Wanna know you, Lord. So I reach out and you find me in the dust. Say no amount of truth can separate us. So I reach out and you find me in the dust. Say no amount of truth can separate us. was just thinking that like so many of us, at some point in our lives, in our faith walk or journey, somebody told us that we weren't good enough. They told us that we weren't loved by God. Told us that we're not supposed to be in this room. They told us that the sin in our life was too much, that we had fallen too far. Told us that the people that we love are not okay to love. Told us that just the way we behave means we don't deserve to come before Jesus. I absolutely love that line. They say no amount of untruth can separate us. Doesn't matter how much bullshit you've been told. You belong here. So I reach out and you find me in the dust. Say no amount of untruth can separate us. Hey! I will rejoice in the simple gospel. I will rejoice in you, Lord. I will rejoice in the simple gospel. I'm laying down. I wanna know you, Lord. Caught up in your presence, I just wanna sit here at your feet. Caught up in this holy moment, never want to leave. I'm not here for blessing. Jesus, you don't owe me anything more than anything that you can do. I just want you. I'm sorry when I've just gone through the motions. I'm sorry when I just sang another song. Take me back to where we started. Open up my heart to you. I'm sorry when I've come with my agenda. I'm sorry when I forgot that you're enough. But take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. Caught up in your presence, never wanna leave. 'Cause I'm not here for blessing. 'Cause Jesus, you don't owe me anything more than anything that you can do. I just want you. 'Cause I'm sorry when I've just gone through the motions. I'm sorry when I just sang another song. Well, take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. 'Cause I'm sorry when I've come with my agenda. I'm sorry when I forgot that you're enough. But take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. Caught up in your presence. I just wanna sit here at your feet. Caught up in this holy moment. I never wanna leave. 'Cause I'm not here for blessing. Jesus, you don't owe me anything. 'Cause more than anything that you can do, I just want you. I just want you. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else will do. I just want you. I just want you. Caught up in your presence. I just wanna sit here at your feet. So I like to play this game I call the winning the lottery game. The game does not involve winning the lottery, unfortunately. That would be a much better game than the one that I play. The one that I play is just pretending that I won the lottery, imagining what I would do if I won the lottery, you know. Friday's Lotto Max was $17 million. I don't know if anybody won it or not. Anybody? No? I was going to say, I'm going to get a QR code for where you could donate if you won the lottery. To Nathan Barnes. How many people play the if I won the lottery game? You know, you're bored, you're alone. Yeah? How many people are lying right now and saying they don't play the lottery game, right? Yeah, what would you do if you won the lottery, right? What would you do if you won $17 million? Like, how many of you, first thing you do is buy a house? Like, yeah, that's a pretty common one. I was looking up stats and stuff. First thing you do, buy a house, pay off your mortgage, those kinds of things, right? How many vehicles? How many people buy a vehicle? Brand new vehicle? Oh, man, come on, people. You won $17 million, no new vehicles? Aren't you just a bunch?
The first thing we do.
Oh, first thing. Oh, so first, okay, so I was going to say, yeah, good point, first thing. Yeah. I'm pretty confident Tim is going to have a new Indian motorcycle in the driveway for me. For Tim. No. Vacations, right? How many that people want to go on a vacation? That's a big one, yeah? Anybody got like a big adventure vacation that they would like to do, like Peru or, because if you won $17 million, you could do one of those like Antarctica expeditions or something, go see the penguins. That would be fun, yeah?
Kathy does it, the Guy Fieri trip all through the way through the States, every one of those special dinos he went to.
Oh, I think they call that the heart attack tour.
Or you'll be 800 pounds by you're done.
Yeah, the 1,800 pounds by you're done. Yeah. Or the relaxation vacation. I drive a truck for Jeff's Junk, and I spend an awful lot of time by myself in, the truck all alone, all day, talking to myself. And so I like to play this game. I try to think about what I would do with all of the money. And the thing is, I start kind of feeling that what I would like to believe is that if I won $17 million, I would do good things with the money. That I'm going to give, most of the money away. But I often wonder, if it was in my bank account, if I could put my bank card in and see $17 million as the balance, would it be harder to give it away once it was actually there? It's easy to pretend. Anyways, today's passage is found in Luke chapter 12, verse 13 to 21. Let's read that. So somebody from the crowd said to Jesus, "Teacher, tell my brother," I love this. All I could think about is that this guy is recorded for all history as kind of a whiny brother, right? Like, for 2,000 years now, people have been reading about this guy who's like, teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me. Jesus says to him, "Man, who appointed me as judge or referee between you and your brother?" That guy was really bummed after that. Then Jesus said to them, "Watch out. Guard yourself against all kinds of greed. After all, one's life isn't determined by one's possessions, even when someone is very wealthy." And then he told them a parable. A certain rich man's land produced a bountiful crop. And he said to himself, "What will I do? I have no place to store my harvest." Then he thought, here's what I'll do. I'll tear down my barns and I'll build bigger ones, and that's where I'll store all my grains and goods. And I'll say to myself, you have stored up plenty of goods, enough for several years. Take it easy, eat, drink, and enjoy yourself. But God said to him, "Fool, tonight you will die. Now who will get the things you have prepared for yourself? This is the way it will be for those who hoard things for themselves and aren't rich toward God." There's a whole lot going on in this parable. I had an awful lot of fun studying for this parable, and so I am going to try really hard to be disciplined and not preach for 50 minutes here. But I don't know if I will achieve that goal, so maybe do some stretches, a little bit of yoga, something like that. Apparently the yoga is not for everyone. Here's the thing. I couldn't help but think about the lottery game again after reading the parable. Couldn't help but think about the lottery game because I started noticing something whenever I would play the lottery game in my truck by myself. I would start by thinking about all of the money that I would give away. I would start thinking about all the different organizations and the different people that I would give money to if I won the lottery because I'm a good person. I'm telling you this so you all now know I'm a good person. I would think about I would give money to Redwood because we could build some buildings and we could do some housing stuff, and I'd give money to Vox so Vox could keep being the weird little church that it is, and I would love to give money to all of you. I'd love to buy gifts for everybody, and I would love to be able to do that kind of stuff. Yes, Rob, you too. And I would love to buy you all of the Maple Leafs gear I could buy. I would love to do that for you. Then I would think about the things that I would buy for myself because, I'm a normal human being. So here's what I started noticing about the pattern. I started increasing the amount of money that I was imagining I would win. So you start off, imagine if I won $10 million. And I think about what I would do. But the problem is, with Redwood, $10 million, millions of dollars doesn't go very far like it used to when we started because we were doing little things, but now we have these big projects that are going to be $30 million, so what's $10 million? It's not even a drop in the bucket, so I'm like, okay, well, I got to win a bigger lotto max, maybe 25 million or 30 million, then I could do, right? Then I could do some good things for Redwood, I could do some good things for Vox, and, that kind of stuff, and, and the church grew a little bit, so now I need a little bit more money if I'm going to do nice things for all of you guys, because there's more of you now, right? Plus, I bet you if I won the lottery, start handing out money, and probably get more people coming in here, and there's a good church growth strategy. So then I'm like, I gotta win more money, right? And then I'm like, okay, well, sometimes Lotto Max gets up to 50 million. Now we got to think about 50 million. But what I realized was it wasn't because I'm a good person that I started thinking that. It's because I wanted to keep some money for myself. And I wanted the number of the amount of money I was going to give away to be high enough that it justified the amount of money that I wanted to keep for myself. Because I wanted to put some money in trust for my kids so that they have a secure future. And all that kind of stuff started thinking about. And I realized that what I was really doing was I was trying to buy myself out of the guilt that I was feeling about the money that I imaginarily was going to be keeping if this actually happened. Right? That's kind of weird. I might have issues. I might need a therapist. Even imaginary money wasn't actually enough money for me. Fake money wasn't enough money for me. That's a troubling thought, that I couldn't be satisfied with a fake imaginary amount of money. I don't know what that means for me as a person. Kenneth Bailey is one of the guys that we've been quoting a lot during this parable series. He's this, theologian who spent a lot of time studying first century Palestinian culture. And he has this, in his commentary on this passage, he translates one of the verses like this, and I think this is very powerful. He has Jesus saying, "Take heed and beware of every kind of insatiable desire. For life for a person does not consist in the surpluses of his possessions." Insatiable desire is the phrase that I was really fixated on this week. Insatiable desire. Insatiable desire. Because I think a lot of us have insatiable desires in our lives. Maybe for a lot of us, it's money. It's not quite enough money. You get a raise, still not quite enough money. You win some money somewhere, still not quite enough money. You imagine winning the lottery, still it's just not quite enough money. So for a lot of us, it's money. But I think there's something to this insatiable desire idea. Maybe it's the clothes in your wardrobe. It's just not quite enough clothes. I haven't found quite the right outfit yet. Or maybe it's the kind of car you drive. It would be really cool if the car you drive didn't have a hole in the exhaust. That's like a woohoo, fancy stuff, right? Maybe that's something you want. But then if you got that, is that going to be enough, or is there this insatiable desire? Or maybe it's relationships. Maybe it's love. Maybe it's even beauty. You look in the mirror and you're just still not. You don't look beautiful to you yet. It's just not enough yet. It's this insatiable desire. There's something ominous about the phrase. And I started thinking about this idea because all I could think about was the idea of unrequited love. I remember as a teenager, have you ever fallen in love, especially when you're in your teens and your brain isn't all developed yet, and so all of your emotions are running at 11 out of 10? Right? And so you fall in love, and a week into this crush, it's if this person doesn't love me back, I'm going to die. You know what I mean? Like that feeling and that ache of like, you love somebody and they don't love you back. There's a song we've done at the pub by Callum Scott did a cover of it called Dancing on My Own. It's really beautiful when he does it because he's a gay guy. He's a gay man. And it's a song about a man that he's in love with who's going to go home with another woman. And it's like, it breaks my heart because it's a love that can't be requited. You know, and I hurt so bad. And I like singing the song. And it's kind of funny because people come up and dance, and halfway through they realize what it's about. And then they're like, oh, this is not a good song to pick up people to. Like, you know, but like that power. And I feel that in this verse, insatiable desire. Insatiable desire. The word translates that Jesus used here, he translates as a greedy desire to have more. That's the problem, is the literal translation of this word that Jesus uses is the desire to have more, which means you can never get to more. You can never get there. You never get there. See the problem? It's not the desire to have enough. That's not what this person is talking about. It's not a desire to have enough. It's a desire to have more. And then when you get some, to have more. And then when you get some, to have more. I was talking to a guy at the pub, and he started going off about the problem with people who are experiencing homelessness and all these addicts. All these addicts. And I looked at him, and I smiled, and I felt kind of like the guy from Sixth Sense was like, you know, I see dead people. I see them walking around. They don't know they're dead, but they're dead. And I was working on this message, and I looked at him and I said, I see addicts. I see them walking around. They don't know they're addicts, but they're addicts. You're all addicts, right? We're all addicts. It's the exact same mechanism, the insatiable desire for more. And you get just a little bit, and it makes the desire for more stronger and worse. So then you try to get more, and then it just makes you want more, and it just keeps going until you wake up on the floor in a bar in Vegas. I don't know why I said that. Maybe it's happened to anybody. I had a friend one time who suddenly woke up on a beach. He left here in the wintertime and woke up on a beach in Florida and didn't know how he got there. He got there because he wanted more. Bailey puts it like this, because what he says is it all comes down to fear. Possessions are bonded to a deep, often irrational fear. The fear of one day not having enough. Regardless of how much wealth is squirreled away, see what I did there? Regardless of how much wealth is squirreled away, this gnawing fear presses frail humans to acquire more. There's never quite enough because the insecurity within never dies. And even more sad is the reality that what Jesus is saying here is that life is not available in the surpluses that these insatiable desires produce. You can't find that life that Jesus promises there. You'll never find it there. That's not where it's hiding. And that fear, that insecurity that I'm never going to have enough drives all of us. We're so terrified. All right, let's look at the dude in the parable today. Right away, we see the problem. As soon as the parable starts, you can see the problem, and you probably blew by it and didn't even notice. Luke chapter 12, 16, what does it say? A certain rich man's land produced a bountiful crop. Here's the problem. What kind of man was the guy who had a bountiful crop? Rich man. Was he a rich man after the bountiful crop? Yeah. Rich man before the bountiful crop? He's already a rich man. A certain rich man. The word that Jesus uses is this Greek word pluseos, and what it actually means is literally abounding in material resources. So this passage says, a certain man who was abounding in material resources had a bumper crop. So a dude who already had way more than he ever needed, he was abounding in material resources, his RRSPs were all topped up, his bank account was absolutely full, the guy was making tons of money, and then he ends up buying cryptocurrency at just the right time. He already had enough, and he had been given even more. A bountiful crop given to him by God. Here's the thing. He didn't do anything differently to earn the bountiful crop. It was just a good year.
I mean, that's the reality of our world today, right? Most of the people who are rich in our world have done jack all to earn what they have. And they talk about it like they did. Oh, I worked very hard for this. You didn't work very hard for this. You didn't work harder than the people working 3 jobs at McDonald's just to make ends meet. Elon Musk doesn't work harder than any of you do. I would probably bet he works a lot less than you guys do. He got rich, and then that money made him rich. Friggin' Bill Gates has been working as hard as he possibly can to give away all of his money, and he's still worth, I looked him up, he's still worth over $50 billion. Because you know what happens if you have $1 billion? You make a crap ton of money. It just makes money. I remember figuring out how much money Bill Gates made in the time it took me to go poo. And I realized that, I think he made about, 200 grand or something every time I went poo. You know? I don't know. I thought about it once on the toilet. That's why I wrote. So this guy's rich already. He's abounding in material wealth, and then he gets more, and he did nothing for it. God gives it to him. He is blessed by it, and then suddenly he starts to have these questions. Then there's this weird line in this story. In Luke chapter 12, 17, here's the line. He said to himself, "What will I do? I have no place to store my harvest." Here's the thing. We don't notice this phrase. We just blow by this one too. He said to himself. Okay, makes sense, right? Why? Because we use that phrase in the English language all the time, right? I said to myself, we don't think anything of that phrase. I talk to myself all the time. I know you're not surprised by that, but because I have ADHD, if I'm trying to accomplish a task, like if I'm cooking supper, I have to talk myself through it. Used to drive Roy nuts when we were working on pumps side by side because I'm talking myself through the whole time. Drives Carrie nuts. Carrie now says things like, you just let me know if I'm supposed to participate in this conversation at any point, right? Because she's like, what was that? And I'm like, I'm not talking to you. I'm not right? And I'm not the only one in here. A bunch of you figured this stuff out. I know you. You're as nuts as I am, right? You don't even think about what this is. But this guy is not in North America, and Jesus is not North American, right? This is 2,000 years ago in the Middle East, in a very, very different culture. And in fact, it's in a culture where village people made decisions in community. Not only did they make decisions in community because it was helpful to have people speak into it, it was their entertainment. It was how you socialized. You talked to everybody in your social circle about every decision that you wanted to make. It was what you did. You got together. You went to the city gates and you sat down. You said, I'm thinking of trying to decide if I'm going to buy some new cattle or not. How much cattle do you think I should buy? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? In fact, I found a rabbi who told a story about people who would prolong making the decision because they didn't want to make it because then there'd be nothing to talk about. And they liked being able to keep having these decisions, right? They wanted to keep talking about it. But this guy says to himself, because he doesn't have anyone to talk to. And the people listening to Jesus tell this for the first time would have reacted to that statement. But he says to himself, and then I'll be like, wait, he said to himself? What do you mean he said to himself? Wealth has a tendency to isolate. When Tim and I went down to LA, we drove that fancy car I showed you there the other week. It was cool. We went driving around Beverly Hills and Bel Air. And at one of the stop signs, I realized we didn't even look like tourists because the car we were driving kind of fit in. So it was sort of fun. But we drove around. We even drove past, I'm pretty sure we drove past Beyonce and Jay-Z's compound. And then we drove by another compound. And then we drove by another compound and another compound. They're all alone. They all live these wildly isolated lives. The more money they have, and it was interesting because if you go to Beverly Hills is actually not the fancy place. Beverly Hills is what used to be the fancy place, and then Bel Air is now where all these people are up the mountain. And as you went up the mountain, you went from holy crap mansions to compounds. Because the more money you got, the further and further and further away from everybody else you had to be. Isaiah wrote this to the people of Israel 500-600 years even before Jesus. Doom to those who acquire house after house, who annex field to field until there is no more space left and you only live alone in the land. Thank God the Bible isn't relevant anymore. Right? Isn't it wonderful that nobody would be stupid enough to buy house after house after house? Isn't that great? They would never do that and, rent them out and call it real estate investment income. They would never, ever force poor people to buy houses for them. I'm so glad that we don't have that anymore. I got talking to my friend Jim at the pub about this. Jim asked what I was preaching on, so I'm like, all right. And we started talking about it, and I read him this verse, and he laughed because I said that. I said, man, isn't it great it's not relevant anymore? And he's like, that's incredible. He's like, when was that written? And I said, I don't know, probably about 2,500 years ago, give or take, And he's just looking at me. He's like, seriously? I'm like, yeah, this is why I keep preaching this old book. And it still keeps making sense. And then we get talking about it. I told him about this idea of isolation, and he says to me, he says, you know what, that's true. He says, I grew up in Sudbury, and he says, my aunt married this guy, and he was incredibly wealthy, and he got richer and richer and richer. And he says, my dad wasn't very wealthy at all. He was this Finnish guy, and my mom and my dad, though, they would go to all these, they would go to the Polish hall, and they would have dances, and the Finnish hall, and they would have dances, and they just loved this. And so he says, the weird thing is, when my dad died, there were 700 people at the funeral. And he said, when my uncle died, there were 20 people there. His uncle used to be the president of Loblaws. You see, wealth isolates. He died basically alone, but really, really rich. There's this feeling in the scriptures that wealth can be a dangerous thing, like a hazardous substance. Like wealth is something that we have to handle incredibly carefully. It's not inherently bad, right? Famously, the money is the root of all evil is one of the verses that's most misquoted. It's the love of money is the root of all evil. Money itself is not necessarily evil, but if I was to give advice, I would say you should treat it as a toxic substance. It can do, most of these trucks you see that have hazardous substance symbols on them, there's good stuff that stuff does. A lot of the chemicals that makes the world possible that we live in today, you can do good things with them, but if you're not careful, they're also corrosive. They can also kill. They can also poison, right? I think money is an awful lot like that. Handled in the wrong way, things go wrong really, really quickly. But here's the thing I've been thinking about. I don't believe that God wants us to live in poverty. I don't actually think that that's what God necessarily wants for us. I don't think it's what he's getting at here. I don't think it's wrong to enjoy the material blessings that God gave us. Because a certain rich man who was abounding in material possessions was given a bumper crop by God. The problem wasn't that that's what happened. The problem is what he then did with that. The danger is when we lose sight of what a healthy relationship to our stuff looks like. There's this passage where Paul is writing to the church in Philippi, and he wants to thank them because they've helped him out. They've sent money, other provisions along because he's in jail, and in that time you had to provide for your relatives that were in jail. The state didn't do that. And so he writes to them, and he writes this. Again, this is one of these fabulous books of the Bible because the book of Philippians is written from jail, and it has the word joy, rejoice, more than any other book in the scriptures. He was having a good time in jail, I guess. But anyways, Philippians 4:10. I was very glad in the Lord because now at last you've shown concern for me again. Of course, you were always concerned, but you had no way to show it. This is what's important. They didn't have a way to show it, okay? I'm not saying this because I need anything. For I've learned how to be content in any circumstance. I know the experience of being in need and having more than enough, and I've learned the secret to being content in any and every circumstance, whether full, hungry, or whether having plenty or being poor. I can endure all these things through the power of the one who gives me strength. Still, you have done well to share in my distress. Paul's figured out how to be grateful in every circumstance. He's figured out how to see the blessings of God in every situation in life. And he's fine. He's doing okay in jail. He's like, I'm all right. But he's excited for the Philippians. Why? Because they got a chance to be part of answering God's prayers, or his prayers to God. They got to do that. They got this incredible blessing, this privilege, to actually be answers of God's prayer in the world, like for real. They got to actually change something in the world. They got to be part of what God was doing. They got to be part of God's kingdom expanding into this place where Paul is in prison. Holy shit. Like, isn't that incredible? What an amazing opportunity. And Paul, in prison, is now suddenly feeling joy. He's now excited because he's like, oh man, I'm so happy for you guys because you weren't able to before. And there's a sense that maybe they were struggling. The church was having a hard time. And then God blessed them, just like the rich man. And the Philippians could have been like, oh, we got to keep this for ourselves in case things get worse later. But instead, they're like, no. Now we can help Paul. Isn't this amazing? But so many of us, we miss out on the blessing of bringing joy and comfort to other human beings. We miss out because we have been infected by what I think is prevalent in our world, this scarcity mindset. There's this belief that there is just not enough. I mean, we see it, right? We see it on TV. You see people starving in other countries because there's not enough food. And we hear about other countries that whole countries are going bankrupt and people are struggling in the streets because there's just not enough. And we keep talking in our country, in Canada, about what to do about the housing crisis and the homelessness that we see because there's just not enough. There's way more than enough. There's too much. It's just not in the hands of the people who need it. And so we believe that there's this scarcity. And then we start to believe that God is a God of scarcity. That God is a stingy God who's just letting out little bits at a time. And we can even hear it in some of the way we talk, like God gives us just what we need. Just what we need. Okay, sometimes, yeah. But I don't think that that's the overall thrust of Scripture. I don't think that's the picture of Scripture as a whole, that God is a God of scarcity. God is a stingy God. God is a God of just enough for right now. I don't think that's the case. You know why I don't think that's the case? Because our world is incredible. Our world is absolutely beautiful. Go stand on the top of a mountain and tell me that God is a God of scarcity. It's not the mindset of Scriptures. I want to buckle up. We're going to go through a few Scriptures here because I want to feel this thread that runs around the Scriptures. God has the power to provide you with more than enough of every kind of grace. That way you will have everything you need, always, and in everything to provide more than enough for every kind of good work. I came so that they could have life indeed, so they could live life to the fullness. The Lord will open up for you his own well-stocked storehouse, the heavens providing your land with rain at just the right time and blessing all your work. You will lend to many nations, but you won't have any need to borrow. Glory to God who is able to do far beyond all that we could ask or imagine by his power at work within us. Every good gift, every perfect gift comes from above. These gifts come down from the Father, the creator of heavenly lights, in whose character there is no change at all. Give, and it will be given to you, a good portion, packed down, firmly shaken, and overflowing will fall into your lap. The portion you give will determine the proportion you receive in return. Instead, desire first and foremost God's kingdom and God's righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. My God will meet your every need out of his riches in the glory that is found in Christ Jesus. Then your barns will be filled with plenty, and your vats will burst with wine. I like that verse. You set a table before me in front of my enemies. You bathed my head in oil. My cup is so full that it spills over and it can't hold anymore. They feast on the bounty of your house. You let them drink from your river of pure joy. We were created to enjoy everything that God is pouring out into our lives on a regular basis. And we walk through life with this belief that he's a stingy God who wants us to suffer. Jesus isn't warning us about enjoying these things too much. He's warning us about getting weighed down by the weight of our possessions so that we suffer and suffocate underneath them. He's warning us about getting weighed down by our fears so we give in to our addiction to more and more and more and more. And he's warning us because when we give in to that addiction, we stop being the conduits that we were supposed to be. God chose his people in the Old Testament to be a light and a blessing to the nations. And our role now as part of that family and part of that tradition is to continue to be a light and a blessing to the nations. Your stuff was never your stuff. And so Jesus uses this word in this passage. And it's this word that's used there for euphoria. When the guy says, when the rich man says that, then I will be able to eat, drink, and be merry. The Greek word there, euphoria, shows up. And it's this word that comes from a Greek word for pharon, which is where we get pharynx, and it's the Greek word for diaphragm. And what the guy is actually saying is like, once I get enough, I'm going to be able to take a deep breath finally. So the original concept of euphoria was this. Feels good, right? You're finally done with all the work and all the striving and all trying hard and all the storing up and all the hoarding. I told that to Carrie, and she said, that makes sense then, because the opposite is that when we're trying to get more and more and more, it's suffocating because you can't take a deep breath. You can't expand your diaphragm. Jesus isn't warning us about not enjoying life. He's like, don't let it suffocate you. Don't let it get to the place where you can't go. And so then the parable ends with Luke chapter 12:20. But God said to him, you fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself? The language seems harsh by our standards today, but at the time it was actually an economic statement. It was a language that was used. They found invoices and bills with this language, with this word. It has economic ramifications. The original language is literally saying, you fool. The life that you were loaned, that loan has come due. It was just yours for a short time, and you got to pay it back now. It's come due. I gave it to you to do something good with, and you tore down the barns where you already had enough to build bigger barns so that you could have more, and you totally missed out on all of what I had for you. You thought, foolishly, that was the blessing. You thought the stuff was my blessing. But my blessing was what you could have done with the stuff. You could have changed everyone's lives. It's loan anyways. It's kind of like this quote from Augustine. I'm paraphrasing, but Augustine basically said, the things that you can't take with you when you die were never yours in the first place. And I was thinking about Bill Gates. And I was thinking that he's got a lot of his issues, don't get me wrong, but I was thinking that in some ways he seems happier now than he kind of ever did. You watch interviews with him, like getting these crazy ideas to just like, he wanted to sort of fix the problem of sewage treatment in the world, and so he just gave $1 million to all these different people who were trying to solve the problem, and they came up with amazing stuff, and now he's like, yeah, pretty much we can treat water wherever we need to treat water. This one guy invented this mobile unit that's absolutely incredible. It can be pulled behind a truck. You can pour poop in at one end and drink water that comes out the other end. I'm not saying I would, but you could, in theory, right? He seems genuinely happy as he tries to get rid of his money. Elon Musk is worth $250 billion, and he might be the most miserable jerk on the planet. Jeff Bezos looks like a miserable man because they don't have enough. They wake up in the morning with an insatiable desire for more that will never, ever get filled. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for our church. I want us to be a church that gets to keep being a part of answering people's prayers all the time. I wrote in the president's letter for our Redwood's annual report, I put at the end that I think being a part of Redwood is one of the most significant privileges in my life. There's lots of times where we're boring meetings and I feel like I have nothing to offer, but I get to sit there and be part of something that keeps giving people homes. And we have poured, Tim and I personally have poured so much money into that thing. And we've risked so much for that thing. And it's never been a sacrifice. It's only ever been a privilege. And I want that for us as a church, that we get to keep being that. I want us to be set free from that fear and that weight. I want you to be set free from the suffocating need for more. And I want all of you to be able to breathe deeply of those easy, unforced rhythms of life that Jesus wants to teach us about. I'm going to ask worship team to come on up. We are going to try a new song, and it is going to go really badly. There's this passage in the scripture where most of you know it. Abraham is told to sacrifice his son. And he brings his son up to the top of this mountain, and he gets his son all ready on the altar, and he's just about ready to kill his son, who I'm sure has some questions at this point. And just before he does, he sees a ram trapped in a thicket because God has provided the sacrifice. And Abraham calls him Jehovah Jireh. Well, actually what he called him was Yahweh Yireh. The God who provides, the God who sees. What I really love is that it actually can be translated as the God who sees and the God who provides. It can be both. He sees what we're going through, and he wants us to put our faith and trust in him so we're not afraid anymore. But this idea that Jireh is enough, and that all of the other stuff is just more blessing and blessing and blessing that we can use for him. So we're going to try this song. I don't know how it's going to go. So let's pray first and ask God's blessing on this song. Jesus, we thank you. I thank you for bringing us here this morning. I thank you for giving us a chance to spend this time together. But I thank you, God, for being a God who just blesses and blesses and blesses. I thank you that even when we are struggling financially, you are God who blesses. I thank you that you just keep giving us abundantly out of your generosity. And so, God, I pray for those of us who sometimes feel like we just don't have enough. I pray that you would give us courage. I pray that you would replace that fear with love, because they cannot coexist. And then, God, I pray that we would find our courage, our hope, our strength in you, but that wouldn't translate into just some fun singing on a Sunday morning, but that reality of being able to trust you would allow us then to be generous with what you've given to us. I pray that you wouldn't allow us to be suffocated and buy into the BS that our world is constantly telling us about. And we pray these things, hoping that you will help us on this song. In Jesus' name. So if you know this song, Jireh by Maverick City Music Hall. If you, please sing loudly, especially when we get to the bridge that I don't remember.
I am right now wasn't holding you up, so there's nothing I can do to let you down. Doesn't take a trophy to make you proud. I'll never be more loved than I am right now. Going through a storm, but I won't go down. I hear your voice carried in the rhythm of the wind to call me out. 'Cause you would cross an ocean so I wouldn't drown. Never been closer than you are right now. Jireh, you are enough. Jireh, you are enough. I will be content in every circumstance. You are Jireh, you are enough. Forever enough, always enough, more than enough. Forever enough, always enough, more than enough. I don't want to forget how I feel right now. On the mountaintop, I can see so clearly what it's all about. Stay by my side when the sun goes down. Yeah, don't want to forget how I feel right now. Jireh, you are enough. Jireh, you are enough. 'Cause I will be content in every circumstance. You are Jireh, you are enough. Yeah. Forever enough, always enough, forever enough. Forever enough, always enough, more than enough. Already loved, I'm already chosen. I know who I am, and I know what you've spoken. I'm already loved, more than I could imagine. 'Cause that is enough. I'm already loved. I'm already chosen. I know who I am, and I know what you've spoken. Already loved, more than I could imagine. 'Cause that is enough. 'Cause that is enough. I'm already loved. Let's try that. Already loved. I'm already chosen. I know who I am. I know what you've spoken. I'm already loved, more than I could imagine. 'Cause that is enough. 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 'Cause you are enough. Ah, you are enough. 'Cause you are enough. 'Cause you are enough. 'Cause I am enough. 'Cause you are enough. 'Cause I am enough.
working in us, more than enough, more than enough, and more than you ask, think, or imagine, according to His power, working in us, more than enough, more than enough, working in us, more than enough, working in us, more than enough. So Jireh, you are enough. Jireh, you are enough. 'Cause I will be content in every circumstance. 'Cause you are Jireh, you are enough. 'Cause I will be content in every circumstance. You are Jireh, you are enough. You are enough. We'll do the bridge next week. Oh my goodness! I want to leave you with a benediction that we haven't done in a little while here. I got reminded about it at the conference we were at, and I thought it was fitting today. And the table will be wide, and the welcome will be wide, and the arms will be open wide to gather us in, and our hearts will open wide to receive. And we will come as children who trust there is enough. And we will come unhindered and free, and our aching will be met with bread, and our sorrow will be met with wine. And we will open our hands to the feast without shame. And we will turn towards each other without fear. And we will give up our appetite for despair, and we will taste and know of delight. And then we will become bread for a hungering world. And we will become drink for those who thirst. And the blessed will become the blessing, and everywhere will be the feast. God bless. Thanks for being here this week. Don't forget, you can buy tickets to the play tonight. Feel free to kick Mike and Rob as they leave the building. We'll see you on Thursday night, and we will see you back here again next Sunday morning. Same bad time, same bad channel.